This podcast contains descriptions of extreme violence, body horror, and adult language. Please check the description for details. Viewer discretion is advised. So, you have a meeting which is pretty much happening straight away. Brimstone, you know Brimstone well enough that it's definitely not wise to keep him waiting, and he is likely on his way right now. You funnily enough don't actually know where he lives, so you don't know how long it will take him to get there, but you being early at this point can only benefit you.
Yep.
Right. I assume you just make your way there. No nonsense, basically.
I think so. I don't...
Well, I mean, I guess the question is, right, because you do have some more leads, you have more stuff on your person. It's really a matter of whether you want to keep Brimstone waiting in favor of seeing what's on this disc and, you know, investigating a few extra pieces from what you got from your dearly departed friend. I think the main thing I want to ask you is that if you do go to see Brimstone straight away rather than looking at the disc, do you want to keep the disc on you, or do you want to stash it somewhere?
Do you know what? So the disc, it's a CD disc, right? And you know, out of character, let me ask, right? Because I just want to know how exactly to start this off. So there's nothing so special about the disc that it, like, you know, it couldn't just be played on Vex's computer, right? It doesn't need to, it's not like a specific thing.
To your knowledge right now, this looks exactly as complex as any old regular data disk.
Okay. I think, to be honest then, what Vex would do is, I think she would be too curious and too excited. She would probably look at the disc first, and then depending on how long that's taking or what's on it, she would then go to Brimstone after.
Okay. You put the disc into your computer. You boot up your computer, you let things whir to life as things go, and you are keen enough that you don't even wait for the computer to boot up. You just... The moment it has power, you can operate the disk drive, you put it in, you just wait for it to do basically the auto boot system, and it will just be ready as soon as it's ready. And eventually you hear the telltale boot up sound. That means that it's now good to go. And you sit down and you open up the file system, and you see it labeled as Case H.
She tries to access that case file.
You click open the disk, and in place of a folder of any kind, you're instead surprised to see that an auto start.exe has started to run. Do you let it run?
Yes.
Right. You let it do its thing. And it takes a few seconds before suddenly the screen flitters to black. And in place of your normal operating system, you see a new one flip up on screen. It's not replaced it is just running a full screen application, essentially. But you see on screen is just a symbol that resembles a a split in four kite shape with like in the background, essentially like a web, a like somewhat convoluted looking web behind it. Not like a spider's web so much as just like interlocking lines in a way that doesn't seem to have any rhyme or reason. It's almost designed to look like it is chaotic. But superimposed on the front is the like kite shape split into four, and it has underneath it the word atrium. And there is just a button that says initiate.
Vex opens her notebook and, as best she can, tries to draw some of what she's seeing. But it's, it's mostly a quick, crude depiction. She doesn't take the time to make it exact. She is too excited, and she will, if there is nothing else, she will hit the button.
You click initiate, and a small animation plays where the convoluted web behind it kind of suddenly crawls outward from the logo into the corners to create a frame, and the kite like does this strange like pulsating loading animation before finally expanding outwards, and you are presented with a bespoke filing system with a number of different case files under it. And at the top of all of it, it says... It looks almost as if, for a moment, that it has actually bypassed a number of, like, higher level, like, navigation files, and has just, like, essentially shortcutted you straight to case H, which it reads at the top. And there is just a list of, like, dates and a couple of, like, shorthand, like, 3-letter codes, which you can only assume are shorthand for something that you no longer have or don't have the ability to, know what they mean. There is a wide range of dates, but notably, and I'm not going to make you roll to pick up on this, notably, the final date in this file, in this navigation, this set of files, is just before when you first woke up.
Is there anything else besides the list of dates? Is there any more information? Is there anything deeper to access?
It seems that you can access these dates as files in and of themselves.
How far back do they go, and exactly how many are there? Like you can give me a vague estimate, are there tons, or, yeah?
You would say there's about 24, roughly 24, 25 entries.
Okay.
The dates run back a good 4 years.
She will, after contemplating for a moment, she writes down the dates, since there aren't, there isn't a monumental amount. She'll write down all the dates in her book as well. And then she'll go back to the earliest one and access that one and see what happens.
You open the file, and you're immediately greeted with a wall of text beneath a set of photos. They are somewhat compressed, but they are very easily made out. It seems to be a mugshot, followed by these very clinical and somewhat upsetting images of just a woman's nude body, taken from every possible, essentially medical angle that you can think of supine, prone, all of that kind of thing. Essentially just recording what this person looks like, and the face at the top of it all, it's the girl from your memories. Skin just as white, hair as stark, brilliant white, and the eyes as well matching. But notably, you can see that there is this, like, pinkish hue to the eyes, which you weren't seeing in your memories. And labeled at the top, just the same as everything else, is just very plainly H. The information below it seems to be some kind of medical listing of her well-being, the things that are notable about her body, about her biology. It's exhaustive in detail. There is her blood type, there is essentially like her psychological profile. There's some things that you recognize, like albinism, which seems pretty clear at this point. And you see that there is even to the point where it seems to be listing chemical qualities of, like, her immune system and various other parts of her physiology, which go beyond, like, any level of healthcare. It's like she is being documented as a product, as a vehicle, like a vehicle, like everything that you would expect from some kind of machine, where it's essentially noting every single last thing that you could possibly need to know in order to work on them. And the language that is used is quite disturbingly inhuman. She is described like... To say cattle isn't correct, she is described fully like an object. And there is a single part at the bottom, after all of this exhaustive medical detail, which says, examiner's notes. It seems that this is the one section where they get to essentially have any level of human communication, and you can see that it says the following. Not overtly promising. This one, despite their strong immunological response to a number of our initial tests, is weak in frame and doesn't seem to have any kind of notable features beyond their albinism, which may very well be something to keep track of. We've seen in previous test subjects that there has been some change to their melanin and various other colorations within their skin, hair, anything you can think of. How it interacts with the product's pre-standing conditions may very well be worth noting, if only for professional curiosity. While I don't see us needing to prep this subject in any particular way, I don't have high hopes for them. Signed, and then the name is redacted.
She reads as much of this as she can. She doesn't exhaustively, explore all of the medical information. But she takes note of this, hands shaking a bit, and would, if able, go to the next file.
The next file specifies a number of procedures that have been carried out. Some of them are things that you can intuit the meaning of, stuff which is like, intravenously administered, like anesthetics, stuff like that. Stuff which very clearly means, she was injected with something for the sake of a surgery, or something like that. The surgeries, however, seem to be almost purposefully obfuscated with terminology which is, like, not just scientific, but esoteric. There is a level of language being used here that implies that whatever came before this girl has come so far that there is just, like, new new surgeries, new techniques, new procedures being used, which are so far beyond anything which you could ever possibly hope to, like, intuit the meaning of, that this must have been going on for a long time. And it is no real stretch of the imagination to recognize that H very likely refers to a filing system. And A through G are subjects that have come before and may very well have been the trailblazing subjects that were used to develop these procedures. They are listed with all of the fanfare of a parts service on a car. And at the bottom, once again, you see the note from the examiner. Subject has held strong throughout the procedures, as was expected with their immunological profile. Their white blood cell count is good, and they don't seem to be at risk of developing any kind of infection, although I have low hope for their general well-being in the long run. They are frail, they are weak. Even with the strong immune system, this does not bode well in my eyes, at the very least. We will see how this develops as we go along, but we may very well end up with a corpse on our hands shortly enough. Once again, the name is redacted.
And the next one.
This one, once again, lists a set of medication this time that has been administered over the course of a number of weeks, each one dated with various milligrams and dosages. And you see as well, amongst this, there is a noted, like, plain English thing that you can actually make out amongst all of this. Amongst all of the, like, dimethyl hydrate nonsense, there is one that simply says compound H, which you gather to be this iteration of something that they have been developing. And underneath it, you see a brief, like, asterisk, which seems to lead to a note just after the medical just after the medication administration, like, log. And you see that note basically says, implants have not been administered yet, please read, like, and then there is a reference to another file for more information. And at the bottom, again, examiner's notes. As suspected, subject's immune system has remained strong, but her physical body seems not to be able to keep up. The fact that she is even alive at this point several weeks afterwards is frankly a miracle. I didn't think there was a hope in hell for this subject, considering just how little prior strengthening she has done to her body, and just how poor her results were during the selection process. That being said, it seems she may have some hope after all.
She keeps going.
This time, there is a new set of images, once again in the same format. You can see now that there is a host of injection sites on both of her arms, as well as the rest of her body as well. Not too many. One or two here and there, one in the neck, some in the ankle. But it seems like she has been administered a whole host of different things over a long period of time. You see in her eyes that she now has her sclera looking rather red, although that seems to be from being bloodshot and stressed. She looks a lot worse for wear. The actual expression on her face and the way she is holding herself throughout these photos is, once again, rather unsettling. It seems that this is all taking a huge toll on her. Underneath it, it simply says, Progress Report, which reads, As is standard for this point in our procedures, I am taking some time to speak on the subject in comparison to their peers. As mentioned before, I didn't initially have high hopes for them, but it seems that they are pulling through, not for lack of wear and tear on their psychological profile. I have updated our files to reflect what I believe is the next course of action in regards to her medication, regarding her psychological needs. We have moved her to the next facility now that we have confirmed that she now we have confirmed that they are capable, or at least ready for the next, more intensive part of this. If I were to be so bold as to give my personal opinion, I believe that this subject may have some promise, considering my previous misgivings about her. Or at the very least, I seem to harbour some hope that she will pull through. Call it some level of ambition in me, but I like to see an underdog succeed from time to time. I would recommend, however, that we maybe make some moves to start pulling in some new subjects. The others that are in Case H alongside her seem to be faring even more poorly, if that is even possible. A handful of them have already died, and several of them are on the downturn. One in particular seems to have had their organs fail on a large scale, which was a surprise to say the least, considering we thought that we had eliminated that problem up to this point. Despite this being our worst batch yet, who knows? Maybe there's some hope in this one after all.
And the next one.
At this point, there is a file attached to this case. It has an extension that you don't recognize. It seems only to be labeled with "See attached recording for information."
Okay, well, she got the gadget. I don't know if she got a recording. Okay. She clicks on it.
It returns an error. It basically says, file extension not recognized.
Okay. So he had a small thing on him, right?
He did. He had a device with him.
He had a device. And does this device look like it is like something that can be hooked up to a computer setup of any kind or anything else, or does it look like totally separate?
You start inspecting it, and you are familiar enough with technology that you know where to look. The small CRT screen that is attached to it is essentially backed by a small host of ports, one of which is fairly small and looks like it might be designed for... You're not quite sure, to be honest, actually. It's clear that there is some kind of copper contacts in there as you start to hold it up to the light and kind of see that there is definitely some connector ports in there. But it almost looks like you're meant to slot something in, which has a very thin connector, which is not something that you have seen before. The other ones seem to be more familiar to you, stuff which is akin to this world's version of USB ports and, that kind of thing. One of them seems to be proprietary, however. It is something that you have not seen before, and it does not ring a bell in regards to any other power cables that you might have seen, or connection cables, that kind of thing. Although you do note that at the bottom of the entire device, because you'll remember I noted that it looked like it was designed to be handheld, is a sizable battery pack, which you have since confirmed must be dead, considering that none of the buttons on the relatively limited interface seem to wake it up at all. They don't seem to do anything. But there does seem to be ways to hook this up to a computer, yes. I
would assume, unless you think otherwise, my guess would be that spare batteries aren't usually something Vex just keeps around. She doesn't, she has her computer, of course, but that doesn't take batteries, and she doesn't use a lot of gadgets or anything, so I doubt she just had them.
No, but I'll tell you what, make me a roll with a +1. Because you have background with technology. Make that a +2. You've literally put together a computer before. You learned a lot through the process of that, including, because constructing a computer at this point, especially out of junk, is not something akin to the modern age where it is just, plug and play, where you just find the right thing. Like, there were things that you had to do that with, where it was as easy as just hooking it up, but, like, you literally constructed this thing out of trash, and that required you to learn some basic electrical skills, restoring traces on the motherboard, and replacing capacitors, that kind of thing. So you have some experience with this kind of thing. Make me a roll with a +2, and we'll see if you can deduce any more about this device and maybe a way to get it going again.
All right, come on, Vex. Come on.
I will note at this point that you are closing into an hour since you said you would meet.
Yeah.
Brimstone.
Okay.
However, that is a success.
All right. Yeah.
You take a look at it, and you slide the battery pack off of the bottom, and you recognize that, at the very least, you're in the money in one way. You are initially disheartened by the fact that this does seem to be a proprietary piece of technology for the sake of the battery pack. Something where you would have, like, probably a whole fucking board of them just, lined up charging, and you just pick one up and slide it in, and it's designed for it. However, fortunately, when it comes to power, all you need is to know the voltage and the amps, and that is extremely handily listed on the actual, like, connector port of the battery pack. If you just spent a little bit of time at some point, you could absolutely rig this thing to work off of mains power, or even just a battery pack that's of the same voltage that you essentially just hook up using, soldered wire, essentially. Might be a little dangerous depending on if you fuck it up, but, it's not that big of a deal. With that as well, I will also tell you that the other ports that I mentioned, there is the proprietary connector, that actually may be something that you can work with as well. You take a closer look at it, and if you were to guess, considering the triple, like, pins that are inside of it, you would maybe guess that this is some kind of video cable? Considering that is a fairly common configuration, is like, it does, there is, left audio, right audio, and video, right? So, again, if you found a cable which was appropriate, you may be able to, again, to kind of futz it into the right configuration and get it working. The last one is the one that is baffling you still. You've never seen anything of this small of a form factor. Like, it would make no sense for a cable to have this shape at the end of it, let alone the fact that, like, it doesn't seem like there would be any, there's no, like, hookup points around it that would maybe stabilize something being plugged into it. It's just this slender fucking cavity, and the thing that's fucking weird about it as well is that the contact points are, like, at the back of the fucking port. So it's fucking advanced. This is like, how this stuff goes, and this is probably something that is, at this point, a matter of a technology that has been developed outside of Hope's rise in the modern world, and is, like, probably the cutting edge of technology. You would probably have to speak to somebody who is more familiar with, like, the newest and brightest and most, like, current shit in order to understand exactly what this is. It is escaping you.
At this point, after just thoroughly looking this device over, getting even more distracted, there's so much more she needs to look at. There's a lot she wants to do with it, of course, but she knows that if she pisses Brimstone off any further, he's liable to just barge in and, like, either break shit or, like, at least get her in enough trouble that it's gonna distract her anyway. So, she's going to take the disc back out after, shutting down what she's looking at, and she's going to take both it and the device with her as she goes to the cesspit. She does not want to risk somebody just watching her right now. I mean, FRI could be for all she knows, and just breaking in and taking it, right?
And and for all you know, FRI might be fucking obsessed enough with your shit that he might pull something. So that's fair.
Yeah. So she's going to she'll keep the device, like, not, like, in her pack with her other stuff, but just, like, strapped to her belt, at least. And then, for the disc, right, so, in this setting, I imagine that, like, you know, it's advanced enough that there are still, like, you know, there are airtight, like, Ziploc bags, or, like, you know, some kind of airtight bag for, like, food storage. So...
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, and so she's going to take one of those, put the disc inside of that, and then for the disc, she especially wants to keep that safe. So I think what she'll do is, I imagine this isn't like a totally like she's definitely done this before, and I imagine others in the city do as well, when they really want to try to make sure something can't just be swiped off of them, you know, just like that. It's not an unheard of tactic, but I think she's gonna, with the disc in the bag, she's going to cut her stomach open and
okay,
and put the disc kind of just nestled in there with her organs, obviously just wincing and seething in pain as she does. But it will. This will mean, especially with her, you know, advanced healing, this will mean that someone's really gonna have to get in there to get it, you know, like they can't just like, oh no, I dropped my bag, and then they grab it, you know?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's certainly, I mean, that's one way to do it, and I don't see why people wouldn't really do that in this setting.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, okay, fucking hell, right, yeah, no.
She's not,
I mean, considering how advanced
chances.
Everything is. No, that's fair, that is fair, god damn. Okay, yeah, so yeah, no, you fucking lay down on your couch, you pull out a knife, and yeah, you fucking do that. It is, I mean, as you said, you've probably hidden high-value stuff inside of yourself before, and it's fucked up and awful, but, like, with how resilient, you know, people are these days, all you really need to do is disinfect the area and put some of the pluripotent cells there to ensure that it stitches up properly. It's not gonna immediately heal. No, wait. It does instantly regenerate.
Yeah, I was thinking, because she has the regeneration stuff. I wouldn't know how instant that was, but it'll at least help.
Okay, well, this is extra. This is, oh, fuck me. This extra works then. Yeah, normally this would be a tactic which makes sense even before, and you would have just had to have grin and bared the displeasure. I mean, you're still gonna feel a fucking foreign body inside of your guts this whole time, which is awful, but you cut it open, and you are in the process of reaching over to grab, like, the small, like, backup supply of pluripotent cells that you have, the Medigel, basically. And by the time that you are going to open it, you are watching in real time as this cut that you've made across your stomach is just, like, pulling itself back together. You could see what looks like almost prehensile veins latching onto each side of the wound and pulling them together, putting them under tension. I should mention, by the way, like, you... Oh, fucking hell. No, now that I think about it, your I mean, guts basically are under huge amounts of pressure. This was you had to make a pretty small incision to make sure that you literally didn't just, like, disembowel yourself, because that can happen. But you normally would expect to, like, see some kind of hernia there for a while it's healing up, and you would expect to see some of, like, a little bulbous amount of guts pouring out. But That doesn't happen. It all sucks itself in, and before you know it, even tensing your abdominals, there is not even a residual, like, note that you have punctured your abdominal wall. And I assume you get going.
Yeah, Vix watches this with some, not concern, well, maybe a bit, but just dumbstruck awe a bit that's really just happening in front of her, but she knows that this is a critical moment, so she is going to, as quickly as she can, just not even worrying too much about stealth, but just weaving quickly through back streets and alleyways, just running, at a not a dead sprint, but a decent pace towards the meeting spot.
Yeah, you start weaving your way, you go as fast as you can, you know you've already wasted time. You are somewhat hoping that he at least lives on the other side of the city or something. Make me a roll. And give yourself a -1 to this, because you spent about an hour dilly-dallying.
Ugh.
You immediately know that you just get this gut feeling.
Yeah.
No pun intended. You get a gut feeling that it is.
Oh my gut!
Oh my fucking guts, bro! No, it's you don't think you're gonna get there on time, and sure enough, you arrive at the cesspit, and in the distance already, easy to spot with his fucking stature, is Brimstone waiting for you, and he is pacing, and that is a very bad thing, because this man doesn't pace unless he is pissed off. Hey everyone, welcome to The Break. It's me, as always, and if you're listening to this on Patreon, then Merry Christmas very shortly. You will be listening to this most likely before the Christmas break that we will be taking, which is just going to be 1 week or so where there will not be an upload. And if you're listening to this on YouTube or just anywhere that the public releases, Happy New Year! Welcome back. Glad to have you here. Thank you for your patience. And I hope that your holidays were great. I'm in the past, and I have no knowledge of these things as to whether they went well or not. Either way, what am I saying? Look, it's The Break as always, so let's get into things. As usual, if you're on YouTube, I'll direct your attention to the screen where we have our fan art. And of course, if you are enjoying Heart of Hope, please consider supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/eternal_savvy. Again, that is eternal_savvy. You should be able to listen to the next episode right now, and that's for as little as $1 a month. You can send me more money if you want, and just be super cool and awesome that way, but even if it's just $1, you will still be, well, one, helping out a huge amount, and you will still get access to that episode as well. If you want to see any more content from me, then you can find me over on twitch.tv/eternal_savvy as well. And anywhere else that I am online, that is pretty much always my username, eternal_savvy. That includes Blue Sky. But of course, the only place where that is not true is my YouTube VOD channel, which is staying_savvy. Also, if you are in the business of drawing fan art and being super awesome, like the wonderful people on screen on YouTube have done already, then you should tag me over on my Blue Sky, which is eternal_savvy, and you should tag it with hashtag Heart of Hope. If you're part of my Discord server, then you can also send it to me there, and I will indeed include it on the carousel on screen if you so desire. And last of all, if you want to help me out somewhere else, then there's my Ko-Fi as well. And I think that is pretty much it this episode. Once again, we have no new characters that I need to attribute to a prompt from one of my wonderful audience members. But yeah, I hope that you are going to enjoy your Christmas break if you're listening to it then, and I hope you have already enjoyed your Christmas break and your New Year break if you're listening to it after. And if you're listening to it in the far-flung future where that 1 week pause did not mean anything to you, well, I hope you've been having a nice day, and I hope you have a nice rest of your year as well. With that, thank you so much for listening. Let's get back to the episode. See you next time. Bye-bye. I will at least give you a description of the surrounding area before we get into it. This is a very small, this is a very small clearing where there is not much, not too many buildings encroaching upon the sky, but there is enough that it means that it is very difficult for sunlight to get into this area. It is really only 1 or 2 streaks of light that come in through here. And there is, as many people know, this body of water which has become stagnant and just disease-ridden, and you suspect at some point that maybe there was some kind of chemical accident that happened here, because the air smells acrid here. It is a genuinely unpleasant experience to be here, and it's to a point where you can see that there is old medical waste, rusted metal, rotting food, and old corpses. You're pretty sure you see bones amongst all of this as well. And there is this ever-present haze of insectoid life that is just around. You can hear the buzzing and the, humming of their wings fluttering, and, just, it's awful. It's just terrible here, which is why this is Brimstone's place of choice. People fucking hate being here. It's as you approach, and you see him stood by one of the more imposing monuments of trash, that he spots you, and he has drawn himself up to his full height at this point, and you can see that he is doing that thing that he does where he is it's not because he's planning to kill you or something, it's just a habit he has where he is essentially drumming his thumb on one of his holstered pistols. And he sees you, and he just stops and stares as you approach him.
When he turns to look at her, she would at least slow down, taking a few more paces forward before stopping a fair distance away. Not super far, but still. She folds her arms, not fully meeting his gaze, kind of with the demeanor of just the general demeanor of yep, I'm about to get yelled at, and I probably deserve it slightly.
Accepting fate.
Yeah.
You come to a stop within speaking distance, obviously, and he just goes,
"Decide to go on a nice jaunt on your way here?"
I didn't.
I'm not sure what I do know anymore, Vex. Now, you said that you have an explanation for me. You said that you were going to say exactly what the explanation for all of this was. So I'm fucking listening, Vex.
She looks up and meets his eyes. There is an explanation, obviously, but I doubt you're gonna believe me even if I tell you.
I can't say that I have not heard that one before. Do you think I give the slightest shit whether something is believable right now? We just lost one of the most valuable pieces of technology that we have. Not to mention, they of Clay have managed to establish some kind of fucking foothold in this city. Do you have any idea how much of a fucking pain in the ass that is?
I can imagine.
Well, you're not gonna have to fucking imagine for all too long, considering that you live in the damn city that you're meant to be working in. So I don't fucking care. exactly how unbelievable your excuse is. You're gonna give me a fucking explanation for why we just ended up in this situation.
I went out on a personal job. Wasn't supposed to be anything crazy. Well, no more than usual. But it took a lot fucking longer than it was supposed to, on account of some shit that happened.
I'm gonna make a roll for him, real quick, secretly.
A week back, huh?
He you see the cogs whir in his head as you see them clicking together, and he just goes,
You were the one on the fucking outskirts, weren't you?
She doesn't respond, but doesn't deny it.
Well, by all means continue then, since you don't want to explain that part.
I wasn't there alone. I got some help from Nyx, but things went fine on the way there, but on the way back, a chopper spotted us. It fucked me up really bad. Worse than ever before. And if it wasn't for Nyx saving my fucking ass, I wouldn't even be here now. It took a while to recover. And I know that that's not usually how shit goes, especially for me, but I mean, like I said, it was a stupid idea, and I'm sorry, but look, you know I wouldn't be gone for a whole week without at least some good reason.
Now, here's the thing. I'm not gonna fault you for a job going wrong. Shit happens. I've had plenty of my organs blasted out without realizing it until 5 minutes later. What I'm mad about, Vex, is your lack of fucking foresight. You decide to go to the fucking no man's land, and you don't set up a single contingency for in case that just might go wrong? It's one thing for something to go wrong in the city.
He takes a second and he takes this deep, ragged breath and calms himself. And he goes,
I'm surprised, Vex. I would have expected you to have had some kind of contingency, paid somebody to go pick it up if you didn't show up by a certain time. I didn't think that I had to explain that as part of your fucking job.
And what if I'd done that? What if I had paid someone to go get him, and they'd stabbed us in the back? That tech you mentioned is probably worth more than whatever I can afford to pay.
Then it wouldn't have been your fucking fault, at least, Vex. We're professionals. We're supposed to act like we're the fucking best in this city, because that's what we fucking are. I don't fucking care if the guy ran off with it. I don't fucking care if he decided to pawn it to some fucking idiot in the collectors who are the ones who took it, by the way. What would have mattered is that you did everything within your power to make sure that you were not the one who fucking caused this. We could have hunted him down, we could have kicked his ass, we would have made it an example of whoever decided to do this. We could have shown these people, we could have shown all of these gangs that we are not to be fucked with. But no, this is your mistake, our mistake. You just made the dredges look like a fucking farce by virtue of this. Do you know the last person who did that? Tell me.
Do you want me to go try and get it back?
Answer my fucking question, Vex.
I know who. We both know. Don't gotta patronize me.
Apparently I do, considering you didn't have the brain cells to consider having some kind of contingency. Listen, Vex.
he kind of strides towards you, which closes the distance significantly when he does even a single step. And he goes,
I'm not going to pretend that I don't like to manage things around here. But there's a difference between micromanagement and management. I'm not gonna beat you or anything. That's not what this organization is about. That's not what we're about. If we start infighting, it's only gonna cause problems and we have to keep up a fucking appearance. That is what this is all about. So you might have thought that you were gonna waltz in here and get a bullet in the stomach or something. But we're better than that. I'm better than that. We don't operate like a fucking gang, and we don't punish each other for money, ultimately. So yes, I don't necessarily want you to get it back. There is no fucking way in hell that thing is still intact in the collector's hands. That thing's been stripped for parts, and all of the valuable bits have been used inside of whatever higher-up has decided that they wanted a shiny new antenna inside of their fucking skull. We're not gonna get it back. You're gonna make an example. And you're gonna make it clear that we are not to be fucked with.
Vex is silent for a few moments, just stewing in this. She looks pretty pissed off herself, but eventually glares back up at him. I'll do all of that. I'll do what you say. I'll do my job, like always. But don't talk to me about shit like foresight or planning contingencies in this city. Because guess what? We know more than anybody else that any given job can be your last. You know every time you waltz into a fucking office block, guns blazing, taking hits the whole time, you don't have a fucking contingency for that. You don't have a fucking plan, you don't have it all planned out. There are some things you can't fucking see coming, and you know what? I admit it. I made a mistake, but God forbid I do something for myself for once in this fucking hellscape.
I don't give the slightest shit about you doing something for yourself. That's the point of becoming a dredge, is to have any fucking free time in this city that isn't dedicated to survival. But that's where you always get things wrong, Vex. You've always just seen me as some kind of fucking brute, some kind of idiot who goes in and blows up entire buildings. You wanna know why those buildings blow up? It's because those are the fucking contingencies. The C4 blocks on the support structures of buildings. And grenade baskets that are set around the various key locations on any given job. Those go off when something goes wrong, because it's better to leave behind rubble and at least say that no one survived and to leave the entire thing fucking kaput. You think I'm just some trigger-happy idiot who's blowing shit up for the fun of it? I won't lie, I have a good time with it. I like my job. It's why I decided to be the fucking ringleader of all of you chuckle fucks. But yes, shit going wrong is a normal fucking thing. I'm just mad, Vex, because you've been such a clean record up to now. Suppose I should have expected one fuck up along the way.
You feel this, like, you don't know if you're okay with it, and it's up to you how you feel about it, but you don't have memories of having parents. That last sentence from him felt like a disappointed dad in the most fucked up way possible.
She clicks her tongue. You know, Brimstone, that's where you're wrong about me. I've never thought you're a fucking idiot who just charges in guns blazing. But when you talk down to me like you're my fucking, I don't know, that's what pisses me off more than anything else. I will own this and I will fix it. But expecting perfection from anyone in this miserable hellscape, that's insane. Is a pile of rubble and no survivors really what perfection looks like to you?
I guess we're all a little fucked up in the head, aren't we? I guess I just had a little hope in you. And I won't deny that what you said just now is right.
Can you make me a conversation check with a +1, please?
Oh god. I needed it.
Just about. You may clear a bloodthirst. You and that conversation check being successful is gonna represent Brimstone actually kind of realizing that, like, as much as you fucked up, you both in that moment recognize when he admits his fault at his reaction, you recognize that he was mad because he had such a high opinion of you in comparison to other dredge. And I mean, and in a positive way, you see him almost like, you see, he relents. He backs up a little, and he kind of, once again, slouches down to, like, normal conversational height rather than drawn up fully. And you get the feeling that he may very well have he may have some stuff to think about in regards to your relationship. He kind of steps down, and he just goes,
Right, well, as you said, you'll deal with the problem.
If we're done with the lecture now, you can give me the details on Day of Clay's whole exact deal going on, and we can go from there. Figure out a plan.
Right. Day of Clay, as you may have heard, as you have heard, managed to get a foothold in the city, which isn't necessarily something that we haven't seen before. They've taken places by force in the past. The difference is they normally only last a couple days, at most. Pretty much a day or two after you disappeared. This thing popped up, and it's still here. It's a grow tower. They managed to get hold of a fucking food source.
I'd heard there was some shit going on there before.
Yeah, no, we all did. We didn't think it was Day of Clay. We thought it was some idiot dweller or something who managed to get a hold of stuff and maybe make some demands for some kind of bullshit or whatever. But, thing is, if they keep hold of this, if they manage to sink their roots in any further than they already have, this is going to be bad fucking news. They don't have central command, but the moment they've got a place that they can actually talk this shit out, the moment they've got a place that they can actually hang out and start to whir their little fucked up flesh cogs together until they think of a proper fucking plan of what they're going to do, we're going to have a whole nother gang in this city that actually has a foothold. I don't have to tell you how much of a pain in the ass that's going to be. We can't just fucking blow up the place. If it was some random building, then we could. We could just set some C4, blow it up, and forget about it. But we can't. Because it's a grow tower. The trouble is that anytime someone tries to go in there, well, they don't exactly come out. They probably got all of their little buddies crawling inside of there and setting up all their traps and everything. The thing that's weird to me, though, and this is dredge business, this next thing I'm gonna say, they're making too much of a stink about it. The collectors, that is. They're not going in, or at least every time I've heard of them sending people in, it's always junkers, it's always their, expendables. Not a single person has gone in who is any level of important, and that doesn't necessarily sound weird for them. Except that there hasn't been fucking one. It's no secret that the collectors have started to lose a foothold, especially in the south. Things haven't been going well for them. Some of their key things have been fucking up. You remember that recycling that was set to happen?
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't make it. Normally I love those things. It's a good time. Turned out none of our dredges had time. Everyone was booked. Everyone had something else going on. And so it was down to whatever they could pull together in order to do it. And as collectors tend to be, they underestimate their own people, and a lot of them got out. Now there's a lot of people who are complaining, a lot of people who are starting to talk, and a lot of people who are starting to create a civil war of sorts. That's probably an exaggeration, but you get what I mean. Between that and losing their foothold in the south, I'm not convinced that the collectors aren't collaborating with They of Clay.
I mean, that's pretty much the only explanation I can think of. If they don't have somebody on the inside, then, I mean, I've been wondering how they could... I get that they've gotten a hold of something important, but... I mean, by that same token, surely they'd have sent more people to fucking root them out by now.
Exactly.
Instead, it's our job.
Yep, as always. I'm glad you understand. This kind of stuff, we gotta keep the shit in balance, otherwise things are gonna boil over. And it's no secret that both the collectors and They of Clay have their beef with Section C. I wouldn't be surprised if they start making moves if we let this go on any longer. Section C have got factories, they've got medical facilities, and it's stuff that the collectors have been after for a long-ass fucking time, ever since they established any of the borders. So
are we getting anyone else, or is it just me?
Now, as much as I want to be there, I can't. I've basically been in the middle of talking shit over with the collectors this entire time, and I've been making a point of hunting down all of the dissidents for the collectors as well. As much as I would prefer if they stayed a little destabilized considering the moves they might be making soon, if we start neglecting them, then they're gonna make an even bigger fuss about us, and I don't have to tell you why that's gonna be a problem. So, unfortunately, I can't join you. I'm basically gonna be playing fucking rat catcher in their stupid territory. If you can find another dredge to help you, or if you can find some Section C, or Foundling, or anyone who you've got any level of good faith with, I'd talk to them. Otherwise, yeah, it's gonna be yourself. I haven't checked in with the other dredges to see if they've got the time.
Alright.
Right. Well, is there anything else that we need to discuss?
No. I get what I have to do.
Good. In regards to making an example of the collectors, we're gonna have to wait this one out. I know I made a big fucking huff about it a few minutes ago, but let's wrap up this fucking They of Clay situation first, and then the collectors can pretend to be happy, pretend that we did them a service, and then we can start fucking with them.
It never ends.
It never fucking ends. If you do need me, the better way to contact me these days, it's frankly a fucking miracle that you got hold of me today. If you need to get hold of me, considering all of the rat catching that I'm going to be doing, call the front desk of that fucking reception that you dropped off the thing at the first time. It's pretty much where I'm operating out of. Oh, you know what? One last thing to report considering the voting fiasco. Something unusual happened.
Great.
The 3 lists of names that we got, generally it tends to only be about 3 or 5 long. We discourage them doing anything more than that. But all 3 of the lists, 2 out of 3 of them had a shared name. No Soul.
Yeah, figured.
So you've met him?
Just earlier today, in fact.
Well, what a coincidence. What's your read on him?
Well, obviously I didn't talk to her for very long, but if you want my honest opinion, she's either really good at keeping things under wraps, or she's just batshit insane. And I don't mean that in any kind of negative way, but anyone else in her position would probably want to be a dredge. But she seems pretty determined to stay completely unaffiliated, and, you know, I guess I can understand that to an extent. But as for what she wants, or why it is she's actually doing this, I mean, other than the sick thrill of it, beats me. That doesn't mean she wouldn't be a good dredge, it's just she made it pretty clear that She's sick of people asking.
I see. Well, did you happen to get a grasp of where she generally spends her time? I might pay her a visit.
Well, I saw her in the neutral zone. Said she liked the rooftops, but otherwise no.
Noted. When I finally got all this fucking shit wrapped up, I'll see if I can't find her. Right, well, we've wasted enough time.
Should I put out an open call to anyone else who's free, or should I try to recruit someone in particular?
Not into micromanagement, remember?
Okay.
See you around, Vex.
I'll have this done as soon as possible.
Could you make a roll for me, please? Alright. You sense it coming. You're in the middle of talking, and you know he's about to do it. You are in the middle of your sentence, and you have already pulled out your gun, and you aim at his gut. And you can see that his hand levels at yours, giving you a little bit of a, tightness in your chest as he does that. But he levels it at your gut a moment later, and he just goes...
At least you still got reflexes on your side.
One of these days you should try pulling the trigger and seeing what happens.
He, gives you a look that you can't quite place, and he turns around and starts leaving.
She does as well. And she will head back to her apartment then.
So, before we go any further, I've been meaning to do this as something that I do as a point of order for future. I normally hand you out karma at the end of session in terms of experience and everything, but I've noticed I have a tendency to be so tired by the time we hit the end of the session that I forget. So I would like you for successfully having this conversation with Brimstone and essentially managing to resolve it well, I would like you to gain 2 experience, or 2 karma, I believe it's called.
Yep, okay.
Lovely. Or favor, I believe. Take the 2 favor, which puts you at 4, and we are good to go. And you are currently... Did you clear your bloodthirst, by the way, the 1 point from the conversation check?
Yes, I did. I cleared it from him.
Right. How much are you currently on, out of curiosity?
8 out of 16.
8 out of 16. All right, so 50% is pretty notable. You start to make your way back to your apartment in order to start putting together a plan for this grow tower that they have managed to get their grubby little hands on. What is your general approach going to be here? It doesn't have to be in depth, and we don't have to roleplay you recruiting people. I guess the main question is, do you want to track down a particular dredge, and then we can actually have a new guest star?
Yeah.
Or do you want to maybe try and recruit someone who might have a vested interest in this? It could be interesting to recruit somebody like Lola Lemongrass, considering that you are on decent terms, although that could cause its own issues.
Yeah. So, I think... So, let me first ask... I'm pretty sure we've established this already, but the dredges have, the equivalent of a Discord server, right? Where you can, just put out, information to the other dredges,
I mean, that's certainly a way to put it. It's more akin to the forums of old, which would it's
I know.
It's it's like a private forum that's encrypted and everything, so you have to have the proper permissions. It's not unhackable by any means, but it's certainly something. It's not direct messaging.
Yeah, I was thinking that, or even more primitive, just a fucking email chain that they use,
Yeah.
But
no, literally that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. But they have that, as I would expect, right? So Here's what I'm thinking, honestly. I think Vex right now is too, like, exhausted, overwhelmed, and, you know, just thinking along too many tracks to put in the effort to try to, like, contact anybody specific, right? And even doing that, like, Vex works alone, like, a lot of the time. Like, not every time, but a lot of the time. So even doing that would be slightly unusual. But I think here, she decides to just try to make it quick and try to also just put on a show of, like, you know, I'm really am trying to solve this as quickly as possible, you know? And she's gonna do something that I don't think she ever would have done before now, which is literally just make a fully, like, public, you know, post on their forum that is just an open call for anybody who is free. I've been given this as a top priority job. Would probably be pretty risky for me to do it alone. I need, like, 1 or 2 extra hands. Anybody who's free, feel free to join in, and we'll reap the rewards evenly.